Hey, this is Laura Cox. I'm finally back. I'm sorry, I know I promised you a Q&A video months ago, maybe 6 months ago. And I've been busy these past weeks and these past months. And I'm finally back. We're back on tour with my band. At the moment, we're on day one of our German tour, but starting with Luxembourg. So we just played a show, finished a show in Luxembourg tonight, and it went really well in a packed club. It was really cool to play again. And now I'm talking to you from my hotel room, and we're heading to Germany tomorrow. And I thought it was finally time to record this Q&A video. So I took my gear with me, and you're gonna follow us on tour. I thought it would be funny and fun to do this. So I'm gonna answer some of your questions that you asked on my previous video. And at the same time, you can follow a bit of the tour with us, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. So let's do it. First question: what's your advice for beginner guitar players? So I think my advice would be, if you already know what kind of music you want to play, and if it's rock and roll music, don't start with the acoustic guitar like I did, because I thought starting with acoustic guitar was the norm and was the classic, the standard thing to do. But you don't have to. If you know what you want to play, if you know that you want to play rock and roll, just start with electric guitar, and then it's gonna be easier. Follow the way, and so follow your dreams and start with the electric guitar first. Other question: what is your approach in learning a new song? Do you use guitar tabs or learn by hearing? So now my approach kind of changed, because so I'm not really learning new songs anymore, because I'm mostly playing my songs. So this is not the same process. I'm creating the parts that I made up, so I don't need to learn tabs, read tabs. But when I used to record more covers, so I cannot read theory. So yes, it was a mix between reading guitar tabs. If I could find good guitar tabs on the internet, because most of the time I think it's difficult to find really accurate guitar tabs. And yeah, a mix of this, and I used to slow down the songs and the solos that I wanted to play. I used to slow them down with the Windows media player, or on YouTube you can slow down the videos, and it helped me a lot to just take my time and listen to the parts very slow again and again, and then that was my way of learning the solos and the covers. Hi Laura, excellent guitar work, really enjoy your videos. Thank you, Nick. This is a question for your upcoming Q&A video. Yes, it's coming, the Q&A video. What type of gear do you use for the backup music? On some of your cuts you have backup rhythm guitar, bass and drums, or the actual band. Are you using the Positive Grid Spark amp, recording multiple tracks, or just playing along with the original band recording? Thanks. So a lot of questions in this one. But you were a lot to ask me what kind of gear I was using for the YouTube videos. So for the backup music, it depends. Sometimes I can find good backing tracks. You can just Google that or even on YouTube. You can find backing tracks on some classic rock songs. And if you don't find good backing tracks, you can just record them by yourself. That's what I've been doing for the past month, especially if I want to arrange the song differently. I think it's really fun, and and yes, I think it's a really fun experience to record your own backup music and backing tracks. So that's what I've been doing. I'm using, for the drums, I'm using Superior Drummer. And then for the guitar and the bass, I have the Positive Grid software. My DAW is Reaper. And then I edit everything, the video, on Adobe Premiere. And I think that's all. And I have a small, just a small sound card, Focusrite Scarlett Solo. It's small and cheap, but works really, really well. And no, I'm not using the Positive Grid Spark amp. At home. I'm just plug my guitar in my sound card and use a Positive Grid software. But on stage, I have my orange amps, but they are just too powerful and too big for my apartment, unfortunately. So another question: I see you like to play classic rock and blues influenced rock. Will you ever try to play pure blues, or is there just no market for that in France? I don't think I'm gonna play just blues because that's not because there's no market for that, but because I that's not my world. I'm not coming from the blues scene. I'm really more into rock and roll, southern rock, country, but I like blues rock, but I'm not a blues guitarist and a blues woman. Some other guitarists can do that way better than me. So no, I'm not gonna release any blues album. I like this kind of music, but like I said, this is not my world. I'm more into rock and roll. Do you ever get bored or feel uninspired to play guitar? By Tony. Yes, sometimes it happens, and I think it's normal. So don't be scared or don't stress if this is happening to you. I think it can happen to everybody, especially during these hard times with the pandemic and the lockdowns and the virus and everything. I think at the beginning in March, April, May 2020, I was really, really motivated and inspired for a few weeks, and then I felt like I needed to get away and get some fresh air and get out. So it depends. I think for me it's really up and down, and sometimes I'm really, really inspired, and sometimes I just have to do something else, and it's okay. You don't have to play guitar all day every day, and I think it's important that it stays a passion and something that you love. So for that, you have to be able to get away a bit sometimes to go back to it and love it even more. If that makes sense, I hope so, because to me it does. Hi Laura, what brought you to the guitar? Several things, I think. My parents used to listen to a lot of great music. My dad used to listen to country music, classic rock. So I think since I was a kid, I really had this great musical culture. And then when I was in high school and I met some friends that were already playing in bands, and I started getting interested in rock and roll music. And I think in rock and roll, the first things that you can hear is the guitar riffs. So yes, the guitar called me, and I was really attracted by this instrument. So yes, I started playing guitar in high school, or just before this, around 14, 15, and it really became a passion really, really quickly. But I wish I started earlier than this. Martin is asking, what do you find the most challenging thing about being a guitarist performer in lockdown? Yeah, like I said earlier, I think, like you asked, it's just keeping the inspiration going and being able to write and to not lose the motivation is something really, really hard. And it was a challenge for me, but now I think we're past that and back on tour again and writing songs and preparing the third album. So yes. Daniel is asking, what is the most challenging guitar solo? So the most challenging guitar solo that I've tried to learn was it would be a Sweet Child O' Mine or or Sultans of Swing, the last solo of Sultans of Swing. Both solos took me months to learn and have them down. So yes, but I should learn them again, because I think I completely forgot about that. I used to spend hours working on this, and now I'm more focused on my songs and the band. But yeah, I should learn these solos again. So Keith says, if you had to choose between a cheap amp and an expensive guitar, or an expensive amp and a cheap guitar, which would you choose? Yeah, so for sure I would go with an expensive amp and a cheap guitar, because I think your tone mostly comes from the amp rather than the guitar. The guitar for me is more about the comfort and how you feel when you're playing, and yeah, but the sound, I think, is mostly, and the quality of the sound is mostly made by the amp you're using. So yes, if you have some money to spend it in an amp, a good amp, and then you're ready to go. Hey, what is the cheapest guitar you own, and which guitar do you like the most? So I think the cheapest guitar that I have at the moment is an Epiphone Coronet. I really like it, and I was really surprised because it's I think a 300 or 400 euro guitar, and it can compare to really more expensive guitars, like a 1,000 or 2,000 euro guitar easily. It feels great. It sounds great. It's really simple, but it plays great, and I feel really comfortable with it. So this is the cheapest guitar that I have. I'm really happy about that, and really surprised. But I'll make a video where I'm talking more about the gear, specifically about the gear, in another part. And which guitar do you like the most? I think I've been playing a lot on my Gibson Les Paul Junior. That I had I got from Gibson in 2019, and it's been my main guitar since then. And it's a bit like the Epiphone Coronet, simple, one pickup, but it's really rock and roll. For me, it's a mix between a Les Paul and a Telecaster, and it's a rock and roll machine, and you're not scared to use it on stage. You're not scared to spill beer, to strum hard. It's the Les Paul Junior is made for the live and the stage, and I love it. I really like your country playing. I was wondering what compressor you use. Thanks. Yes, so I'm not using the most expensive compressor, because in terms of compressor, my favorite pedal is the Boss CS2 or CS3. I have the CS3. It's really cheap. I think I paid maybe 40 euros for this pedal back in 2010 maybe. And it doesn't have the best reputation because it's not clean or transparent, but I really like the color and the tone that this compressor can add to your country tones. So yes, I would say the Boss CS3 is my favorite. Long question. Hey Laura, from Michael. I really hope you'll see this message, because it does not come from me but from my daughter. She's a 10-year-old lady, and she's been learning guitar for 3 years now. She started with a classical guitar, but in December I offered her a mini Stratocaster and an orange amp. That's really cute. Mostly because of your videos. No need to say that she really enjoys your sound as her father does. My question is, learning guitar, like any other instrument, is hard. It is a long and obviously an infinite process. How did you learn? Did you have a teacher who asked you to play with a metronome? I'm sure you had some hard time. How did you stay motivated? Those are the challenges my daughter is facing right now. I would be very glad if you can give her some tips. Merci beaucoup, bon courage en ces temps difficiles, et surtout en espérant vous voir sur scène un jour. Yeah, I hope you can come with your family to see us play someday on stage. So, how did I learn? So yeah, I had a teacher, a really really good teacher. Um, I started taking lessons, and I think it's really important. It was really important for me because that's what kept me motivated, and I think it's important that she finds the teacher that is made for her, the good teacher for her. Because if she doesn't like the teacher, if it's not going well with the teacher, she could just give up guitar, even if she loved the instrument. So it's really important to find a good teacher that's motivating. Um, and so I took some lessons for 4 years when I started, and then I thought that I could just continue by myself. So yes, I took some lessons for 4 years. And yes, I think at the time my teacher wanted me to play with a metronome, but that wasn't my favorite thing. So yeah, I don't really know how I stayed motivated, because for me it was really natural. I loved the guitar. My teacher was telling me, okay, we're gonna learn this song or this song by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, this song by Simon and Garfunkel, and we learned a lot of different things. And I think that was what kept me motivated, just learning new things all the time, and songs that I loved, and yeah, and realizing that I could play these songs by myself. So it was a challenge every time, and it kept me motivated like this. So yes, tell your daughter to not give up if that's what she wants, if she loves guitars. I'm really glad she plays a mini Stratocaster and orange amp, and that's cool that she's playing electric guitar. So I hope you're not giving up, and yeah, good luck with that. Keep me updated. How do you produce your YouTube videos, Laura? Do you direct, record, edit all by yourself? Yeah, mostly. Most of the time I'm home, not like tonight in the hotel room, but I'm home in my apartment, and yeah, I spend some days or some weeks just working on the audio, on the sound, practicing, and then when I'm ready, I'm plugging everything in the sound card and recording, filming at the same time, and then editing with Adobe Premiere. It takes some time, and I'm not the best at this. I don't have like a huge editing and recording skills, but yeah, I'm doing what I can, and people seem to like it, and it's okay for me. So yes. How many guitars do you own? What is your favorite one? I really don't know how many I have. In a few days I can show you what I have on tour with me. So when we're going on tour, I usually have maybe four guitars, I think. And my favorite, yeah, Les Paul Jr., I would say, like I said earlier. And how many guitars? I think in total maybe I have something like a dozen, but I mostly use 3 or 4. Dean is saying, who are your favorite guitar players? So when I started playing guitar, my favorite guitar players were the classic ones. My idols were Slash for the tone, Mark Knopfler for the right hand technique, the finger hybrid technique, whatever you call that, and Joe Bonamassa for the perfection, like the articulate right hand technique with the pick, really really fast picking. So they were my favorite, and I learned a lot thanks to them when I started playing guitar. Now I'm more listening to new bands and new music, younger guitar players. I really love Tyler Bryant, Jared James Nichols, and yes, at the moment I think they are my two favorite guitar players. So, and I'm so glad that we have young rockers, blues guitarists, or yeah, young guitarists that are there to keep on playing rock and roll. It's so motivating and inspiring to have them. Hey Laura, which female artist has influenced you the most vocally and or technically since you first picked up a guitar? After the pandemic ends, any plans in the future for the band to visit and play in Montreal, Canada? Would love to hear you guys live. Yeah, we would definitely love to come to Canada. I really hope we can do that next year. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, so female artists that influenced me vocally and technically. So for sure, vocally would be for the vocals Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm. She's my favorite. She has the most powerful vocals, and for me she's the best rock singer at the moment. I love her voice, and I'm really she inspires me a lot. And yeah, so this would be for the vocal. And for the guitar, I discovered a young guitarist last time I went to the NAMM in California. I discovered a Gibson artist. She's called Emily Wolf, and she inspired me a lot with the guitar playing, because I really like her kind of wide playing, and on stage she's so good. You should check her out. But yes, what was your first guitar? So my first guitar was an acoustic guitar, a folk guitar that my grandmother bought me in a small music shop that used to be next to my apartment, but it's unfortunately they closed a few years ago. So yeah, my grandmother, she bought me a Stag folk acoustic guitar. I kept it. I'm not really sentimental with the guitars. I kept it maybe 10 years and maybe less than that, and then I sold it. But yes, my first guitar was an acoustic guitar. And my first electric guitar, my mom bought it for me. We went to this same music shop near my house, and it was a pack, like a beginner pack with a Squier Showmaster, Blue Squier Showmaster with 3 pickups, I think 2 humbuckers and a single pickup, or the opposite. And a small Fender 15 watts amp that didn't sound good at all, but I had so much fun playing on this guitar and this amp. And it's the same. I don't have this this gear anymore. I sold it years ago. But yeah, that was my first electric guitar. What's your favorite genre of music? You can name a few. Yeah, I hope I can name a few, because I don't have one, just one. So yeah, I think I would mostly sum up by saying classic rock, but I'm listening to everything from bluegrass music to hard rock, metal. But yeah, mostly classic rock, southern rock, country. I really love bluegrass. I am really interested in this kind of music. Considering that we really don't have this kind of music we don't have a big scene for this in France. I'm learning banjo. I'm learning lap steel. I wish I could start a bluegrass band sometime. But yeah, so everything from bluegrass to country to classic rock, hard rock, blues rock, and even metal sometimes. Jim is saying, I know I should be content with your awesome Hot Blue Shot playthrough with Anna Sounds video, but would you consider posting a Hot Blue Shot tutorial? There's so much going on in that song. I would love to see it broken down in a tutorial so I can spend all my time working on it. Thanks. Yeah, why not? I don't really like recording tutorials. It's not my thing to teach how to play. I think I love playing, but teaching is not really my thing. But yes, you're not the first person to ask this, so I am definitely gonna consider this. Yeah, I'll think about that, and I'm sure it's possible. So yes, Jim, just wait a bit more, and then you can spend a lot of time working on hard Blue Shot. Hey, so it's me again. We're on day 3. Today was a day off, so it was pretty chill. I'm in another hotel room, and I thought I was going to answer some of your questions again. I watched a bit of the footage I recorded the other day, and I'm gonna try to be a bit more energetic. Otherwise, we're all gonna fall asleep together. I think so. I think I was pretty tired the other day because I was just we just finished a show, but today was off, so I'm feeling good and energized. So let's go with the questions. Alex is asking, do you listen to any modern bands? If so, any band recommendations? Yes, at the moment and these past years, I've been listening to a lot of modern bands. So it depends what you call modern, but yes, I listen to, for example, young band like Larkin Poe, Hailstorm, Blackberry Smoke. They are like the new Leonard Skinner. Blackberry Smoke, Blackstone Cherry, Rival Sons. Yeah, bands like these. So if you want to check them out, if you don't already know them, you should. Do you take influence in your music from movies, books, plays, etc.? Sometimes, yeah, sometimes I'm a bit inspired by movies or TV shows. And I'm discovering a lot of new music in movies. That's what I really like, because when you discover music, it has a different meaning, and you perceive the music differently when you have the image and the movie and the storyline behind that. So yeah, not really from books and plays, but from movies and TV shows it happened. And I think one of the reasons I started playing guitar 15, 16, yeah, around 15 years ago was because of a movie that I saw at the time, back maybe a few years before I started playing guitar in 2004, maybe. A Disney movie. Maybe you know this movie already, I don't know. But I remember I watched, I went to the cinema with my mom and my sister, and we went to see Freaky Friday with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. And I really loved this movie at the time. And I thought, oh yeah, I want to play in a band, and I want to play rock and roll and electric guitar. So this movie had an influence on me. Charles, want to know, you're awesome. What speakers do you have in your orange speaker cab, and is it open or closed back? Any particular speakers, cabs you prefer to use live? So in my orange speakers, cabs, I have, so they are closed back. I prefer closed back because for me it sounds more full, not hollow. And the speakers are the stock ones. I didn't change anything in these cabs. They are V30 speakers, and I like them because maybe not for the studio, but for the live, they have this medium edge, like the medium tone that can really stand out of the mix. So they're really good for the live, I think. Do you play at home? If so, could you please give some tips on how to get great tones at home without starting a war with neighbors and relatives? Yes, I'm playing at home, of course. I'm not just playing on tour or in rehearsal studio. Yes, I'm playing at home, but I live in an apartment, so like I said, I'm not using my big orange amps at home. They're just for the stage. At home, I prefer just plugging my guitar into my sound card and using some softwares at the moment. I've been using Positive Grid Bias Effects for years, and it works really well with me. So that's how I manage to have a good relationships with my neighbors. Hi Laura, how did the amount of time you practice change over your years of practice and your habits? Even in your early videos, you seemed very good. How long had you been practicing when you first started posting videos? When I started playing guitar, I was practicing a lot, the same solos over and over again. But now my routine changed a bit because I'm not learning songs and solos by heart anymore. I'm mostly playing my songs. So yes, my habits changed a bit. I'm not, I'm practicing a bit less, but it's just that I just changed what I'm playing. So yes, I'm writing songs more, and maybe try to go different paths, like trying new instruments to get the keep the motivation going. Like playing, I started playing drums a few weeks ago, the banjo, the lap steel. So I think that's how my practice time changed. I am just a bit more open to everything, and that's how I'm managing to keep the motivation going. Can you give an insight on your right hand technique? Yeah, I'll show that closer in another video, but I'm mostly using chicken picking, and I think it's really comfortable and convenient for me because I'm a lefty but playing right-handed. I really like chicken picking because it allows me to not move my right hand so much. So I don't have to be really fast with the pick because I have the pick, and I also use my fingers. So that allows me to be fast without moving so much. But I'll show you that in another video if you want. What's the favorite venue that you've played at? Do you have a dream venue, festival to play at? And if so, what would it be? I think my dream venues it would be a festival. My favorite festival is the Hellfest. It's a French festival, but if you're into rock and roll music and hard rock or metal music, maybe you heard about this festival because it's huge. And I've been going there for more than 10 years, just going to watch see my favorite bands on stage. And a few months ago, so we were supposed to play at Hellfest in 2020, but it was postponed again and again. And a few months ago, we played the Hellfest from home. So we played from this festival, but without anybody in the audience, just the live stream. And it was a really, really great experience. A bit weird because I never thought we would play at Hellfest just alone in the empty site, on an empty site. But it was a really weird but crazy and great experience. And I'm really, really happy because we are still on the lineup for next Hellfest, so June 2022. We're gonna play there on the main stage, open the festival, and I can't wait because this is one of my dreams. Hi Laura, greetings from Australia. My question is, I really hope we can go to Australia, by the way. This is one of my dreams too, to go to play to Australia, go surf maybe. So the question, when you write a song, how do you write your solos? What method do you use? Thank you. So the solos, I'm not improvising a lot. I always prefer to write the solo first and have it in my head when I'm recording it. I like to know what's going on, and I like to know where I'm going. There's only one song from the previous album where I improvised the solo. It was on Freaking Out Loud. And it came out very well, I think. But usually, I write them before, and most of the time it's a mix. But I'm starting with something like a line, a theme that I can sing in my head. Because if you can sing the melody, it means that it's catchy and it's gonna mean something. You know, just I don't like to play a series and just a series of fast notes that don't mean anything. So if I can have the melody in my head, I think it's a good start to write your solo, to have the main theme. So we are playing in Bremen tonight, and on the way we found a cool record store. So we just stopped by, and I think I found some cool vinyls. Hey, I'm back. So tonight we're on day 8 of the tour, I think, German tour. It's going well. Tonight we played in Bremen in a cool blues rock club. And I'm finally back at the hotel, so I thought maybe I should answer a few of your questions again. So let's see. Gustavo is wondering what are my 10 essential rock albums. It's really, really hard to answer this question. I really have to think about this one. But the truth is, I haven't been listening to new music a lot these past months during the lockdown. So I'm sticking to the albums that I used to listen before this. I'm gonna give you 3 tonight and then think about the rest for the next video session. But I would say the latest albums that I really liked were Rival Sons, Pharaoh Roots. I really, really liked this one. Hailstorm, Into the Wildlife, and Blackstone Cherry, Magic Mountain. So I'm gonna say these 3 for tonight and give you more another time. What brand of slides do you use? Sounded great on Wish You Were Here. It really depends. It's a bit like the picks. I like thick slides because for me it sounds bigger. It really has an impact on the sound, on my tone. So when I'm at home, I really like these ones, the porcelain, like ceramic bottlenecks. This one is a Dunlop, the Joe Perry signature. This is the small one, but I have the bigger one that I love. I love as well. So yeah, it's heavy, and the only thing is that I'm always afraid to break it on tour. So that's the one I prefer using at home or in the studio for the tone, because I really like the ceramic, how the ceramic sounds and how it feels on the strings, because it's ceramic, but it's glossy. There's a lacquer on top, so it feels really smooth on the strings. And when I'm on tour, I had this one by Gibson that I find really practical because I don't know, I couldn't say why, but for me it's better than the standard Dunlop metal or nickel slides. This one feels great inside. It has curves, and I don't know inside. Maybe it's wood. I'm not sure, but the thickness and the length and the size is perfect for me. I usually use my middle finger for the slide. By the way, this wasn't in the question, but I think it's really important, so I prefer using my middle finger. So yeah, this is a Gibson. I'm not sure about what kind of material they use for this slide, but at least if I'm letting it fall on the ground, it's not gonna break. So that's the one I'm using on tour at the moment, and yes, I like it. Hey everyone, I'm back at the hotel. Tonight was the last gig of the tour. It went really, really well. I'm happy that my voice was okay, my body is okay, and yeah, but I'll be happy to be back home tomorrow too. But before this, I wanted to answer your last questions that I chose. So one question was about the picks that I like using. In general, I really like heavy gauge, like picks that are very thick and stiff. I don't like when they're bending and really, really, really soft. So I've been using these past months this one. It's made, I'm not sure about how it was made, but it's really, really thick and stiff. And it was made by a French artisan called Ricky Le Plectrier. And they last long. I think they're a bit expensive, but they last really long, and I like the feeling because it doesn't feel like plastic when you play, and I think it has a good impact on the tone you can get with these. So yes, at the moment my favorite are these ones. And I only have one, so I'm trying not to lose it. Now, some of you were wondering about the strings that I'm using. I'm using the Dario strings. I really love their XT series. Most of the time I'm using 1046 gauge, the standard gauge, but sometimes on guitars that are a bit harder to play for me, I'm using 9 to 46. So yes, I'm changing. I'm often changing. I still cannot make up my mind. I don't really know which gauge I prefer, but yeah, between 946 and 1046, the Dario XT, I feel really, really good playing these strings. They last long, but you... and they last long, feel great, but you don't... they're coated, they have an extra coating, but you cannot hear that in the sound. It really sounds organic. It doesn't change the tone of your guitar. And to come back on your question about my favorite albums, I thought about that today. I still can't decide, but I would add for sure Let It Bleed by the Rolling Stones, and Running Wild by Airborne. And then let me think about it for a few more days, and maybe I'll come up with other albums. So I think we're getting to the end of this first part of the Q&A. So this one was more focused on the questions related to the music in general. I'll do another part more focused on my gear on tour, the guitars, pedalboard and amps. And another part focused on the rest, like personal questions or funny questions. It's coming too. So I really hope you enjoyed this Q&A. I tried to answer as many questions as I could. And yes, I hope you enjoyed, because I really enjoyed talking to you almost every night of the tour. And yeah, hope you learned some new things. And I enjoyed doing this. I enjoyed touring. And now let's go to bed, and thanks for watching.